Our next speaker, inshallah, will be Associate Professor and Imam at the Dawah Center in St. Paul, and also the Director of Islamic University of Minnesota, St. Paul branch, and also an instructor at the Rochester branch. Please welcome Sheikh Imam Hassan Jaamici.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على سيد الأبرار سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. My dear brothers and sisters, the father of the Islamic University and the founder of Islamic University of Minnesota, Al-Sheikh Dr. Walid, and the Asatida, the professors of Islamic University of Minnesota, the parents, the beloved students, all the way from AA program to master's program. One more time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's say 3 takbir, each for each group. One for AA, takbir. One for BA program, takbir. One is for MA program, takbir. My dear brothers, all of you, especially the students, may Allah bless you and bless the long journey that you went through. And as our Sheikh said, I hope you will continue and you will never stop from here. According to one of the author, min al-mahd ila al-lahd, that is the belief that we have all the Muslims to continue to practice this author, inshallah, and study more, since there is no limit to reach about the Islamic knowledge. You all know, my dear brothers and sisters, the first command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to learn this deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet, Iqra, 3 times through the Jibreel, his teacher, commanding to learn the deen of Islam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's important to learn. In the Quran, you find more than 500 ayat related to the knowledge and importance of the knowledge, my dear brothers and sisters. Nun wal Qalam talks about writing, knowledge of Islam. Innama yakhshallah. If you want to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through the knowledge of Islam. If you know nothing about Islam, or if you have less knowledge, you are at risk to make many mistakes. That's why it's important. It's a wajib to have this Islamic University in Minnesota and in America. There is an Islamic fiqh principle that says, "Ma la yatimul wajibu illa bihi fahuwa wajib," which means if it's necessary to have the Islamic knowledge to practice Islam in America, so it's necessary to have Islamic University, which is this university, my dear brothers and sisters. I'm proud to be with this university for more than 10 years with Sheikh Walid, since the beginning, and established this university. I was a teacher, a professor of Islamic University of Minnesota, at the same time, William Mitchell of law, teaching comparative study of Islam and American law. My dear brothers and sisters, this is the only knowledge that saves you. And this is the only knowledge that will give you special honor coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ darajat. So my dear brothers and sisters, Sayyidina Ali said, radiyallahu ta'ala an, al-malu tahrisu. If you are wealthy and you have a business, your job will be to protect the business. Hire many people protecting this business. But if you have a knowledge, he said knowledge will protect you. Look, the benefit and the honor of knowledge of Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, khams al-fawaid al-khamsa, and 4 advices in my conclusion. Number 1, you are selected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah loves you. You should say alhamdulillah. Allah loves us, those who are seeking the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are studying al-Islam, those who are trying to understand and strive the fiqh of Islam. The Prophet said, alayhi wasalam, "Man yuridillah bihi khayran yufaqihu fi din." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Prophet told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Prophet said, "Man yuridillah bihi khayran." If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala selects you for khair, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides you to understand Islam. So that's what we are. So number one, you are selected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're lucky, you should say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Number two, fa'idah. You have a light. People live in a dark, this world is like a dark room. You cannot see it unless you have knowledge of Islam. Once you have a knowledge of Islam, you have a nur. And that nur tells you what's right and what's wrong. Imagine you don't have light, you will scramble inside of the room and you will be lost. So that's number two. Number three, benefit. And fawaid is protection, as I said before. This ilm will protect you. Protecting ilm. Al-ilm protects you. Number four, you will be friends of angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is hadith that says, حَفَّتْهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, those who are studying the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, angels will stay all the time with you. They are your friends wherever you go. Never stop to study Islam. And the last fa'idah that I summarized, it's constant forgiveness that you're receiving. Through what? Through the makhluqat. Every creature that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created is asking forgiveness for you. The hadith says, حَتَّى الْحِيتَانِ فِي الْبَحْرِ, the fish swimming in the oceans, they are saying, mentioning your name, saying, "Oh Allah, Ahmed, oh Allah, Ayub, oh Allah, Ismail, oh Allah, Fatima," forgive them. Why? Because of this knowledge. Four advices to end. Number one, never stop here. As the Sheikh said, continue. Those who have AA tonight, continue to make it BA. Those who have BA, start. I know my class already, some group, about 15, registered already with MA program. If you have MA, those 6 students, go and continue to PhD program. And I have already explained to our students of master's program that we have, our BA programs, we have 4-5 areas of specialty from these shuyukhs that you can benefit. Continuation. Number 2, advice, practice. Allah will ask you what you learn, how you dealt with. Practice, practice, practice. One of the scholars, I was reading one of the Al Jazeera newspaper last week, he said those who live in America have the best opportunity to convey the message of Islam if they do it properly. And nobody will do properly unless you have the knowledge. So preach. That's number 3. Number 2 is practice. Practice, practice. And your practice will move us, number 3, which is preach. ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. How you can call and invite others to Islam if you don't know about the Islam. That's why the first العلم قبل القول كما قال الإمام البخاري. The knowledge, to have a knowledge is before you say it and before you do it. So you need to have the knowledge. And the last is, do not be, or you, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everyone who's here that the dunya is very dangerous. Don't let the dunya distract you. Dunya is, you become busy with the dunya. What type of dunya? Mal, jah, all this. Although it's needed sometimes to help with your deen, but don't let the dunya. I will conclude with this story, and I'm done. There is one of the Amir of Muslimin, Amir of 1/3 of the world. He visited Mecca, and then he had argument with his 2 sons about the fiqh issues. And they did not have any solution to their arguments. Do you know what they did when he entered Mecca? He had like hundreds of the army with him, securities, ministers, al-hashiyah, advisors. And when he came Mecca, which is full of people, the Kaaba, he said, "Who is the mufti of this area?" And you know, they pointed out someone sitting inside of hundreds of or thousand, more than 1,000 people. And that person, and the Amir looked that person far. He was someone who has a color of the black color, and at the same time, he said to his two sons, we were obligated at this point to wait, not only that, to listen to that black man sitting there. And then he said to his Hashia, who's that person? And they said that is Al-Alim, Al-Sheikh, Al-Mufti, Ata ibn Rabah. And then at the end when he met him, he said, what makes you to this level? And that's what I want to leave with you. بأي سبب وصلت إلى هذه الدرجة? What makes you to this level? That I'm waiting for you hours, because you know what happened? When he said, he sent his servant to tell to him and whisper, the Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Khalifatul Muslimin, the whole Muslim nation's leader wants to ask you a question. Can you let him come in? He said like, no, he has to sit down there and wait until his time comes. Look the power of the knowledge. My dear brothers and sisters, he waited long. After his turn, he came, he said, what makes you to this level? This is, remember and memorize this statement that Ata said, and put in your heart and never forget forever. He said, باستغنائي عن دنيا الناس وحاجتهم إلى علمي. He said, I became free from the dunya nas, what is the hand of the people, and people were necessitated to come and see me like you are seeking my knowledge. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you successful here and hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless these scholars who fed you this beautiful knowledge that you have. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our university. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our parents, mothers and fathers sent you. They're good and beautiful mothers and fathers. They sent you. May Allah bless them. May Allah protect them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring us, all of us, in the Jannah together with the Prophet next to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.